everyone. So today I'm going to be going over some of the classwork problems just for you to have in case you have, in case you had trouble with any of them. So let's look at question actually number 1 from the classwork today. So it says, find the total weight of the boxes of pecans in a shipment of 3-pound boxes of pecans and 2-pound boxes of walnuts. There were fewer 2-pound boxes of walnuts and 3-pound boxes of pecans. The total weight of the shipment was 462 pounds. Okay, I find this one confusing. Why? Well, because we've got a lot going on. We have the number of boxes you could have, and then we also have the pounds. Now, in this case, the questions actually ask me to find the total weight of the boxes of pecans, but I need to know, in order to find that, how many I have. So this is one where you can't necessarily use the question to find your let statement. We know that the total shipment was 462 pounds, and we know that each box of pecans was 3 pounds and each box of walnut was 2 pounds. So really we need to know how many boxes we have. So we're going to let P equal the number of boxes of pecans. All right, and it says there were fewer boxes of walnuts. Okay, so then P minus 24 is going to be the number of boxes of walnuts. All right, now I want you to pause and I want you to try and write the equation on your own now. That might have been where you were stuck. Now that you have those let statements, are you able to turn this into an equation? Now remember, the equation relates to the total weight because that's what they gave me. All right, so if you tried it on your own, this is what you should have gotten. So each box of pecans was 3 pounds. So 3 times the number of boxes of pecans plus 2 times the number of boxes of walnuts equals the total weight, so 462. All right, now you can solve the equation. So 3P, we'd have to distribute. Remember, we want to distribute. Parentheses mean multiply, so distribute the 2. So 2P minus 48. Remember that an equation is an expression equals an expression, which means I have to simplify the expression before solving. So I want to combine like terms. I'm going to add 48 to both sides. And we get 5P equals, what is that, 510? So 510. So P equals 102. So there were 102 boxes of pecans. 102 boxes of pecans. And that's all it asked for, so we're done there. Now we always want to box our answer. Notice though that I worked vertically, I worked straight down, I got my answer, and then went back to answer the actual question asked. All right, sometimes, like question number 3, you actually need to draw a picture. Remember we talked about anytime a question involves a figure of some sort, you're going to want to draw it. It says the length of a red rectangle is 15 centimeters more than its width. A blue rectangle, which is 5 centimeters wider and 2 centimeters shorter than the red one, has a perimeter of 72. Make a sketch of the rectangles expressing all the dimensions in terms of W. Then find the dimensions of each rectangle. Okay, so let's see what we got. We've got this red rectangle. Okay, now it says in terms of W, so we are going to let W equal the width of the red rectangle. Okay, so here's W. Now in that red rectangle, the length is 15 centimeters more than the width, so that would be 15 plus W. All right, so then we have a blue rectangle. Here's my blue rectangle. And it's 5 centimeters wider, so that would be W plus 5, and 2 centimeters shorter than the red one. So that would be W plus 15 minus 2, so W plus 13. Then it says that we know the perimeter of the blue rectangle. So for perimeter, we know that we have to add up all the sides or multiply each side by 2. So that would be 2 times W plus 5 plus 2 times W plus 13 would give me 72. All right, So hopefully that part was makes this question a little bit clearer for you, and I'm going to let you solve it on your own, okay? All right, so let's go on to some harder problems, okay? So these are where, there's a lot going on. There might be two things. You're not really sure what to go with. So looking at example 1, Brian earns twice as much each week as a tutor than he does pumping gas. His total wages are $150 more than that of his younger sister. She earns 1/4 as much as Brian does as a tutor. How much does Brian earn in each job? Okay, so now remember, I said to you, write your let statement based on the question unless the quantity is bigger than the second unknown. So when I see we've got two jobs that we're trying to find about Brian, I decide which one he makes less at. So if he earns twice as much a week as a tutor than he does pumping gas, well, that means pumping gas he makes less. So I'm going to let G equal the amount that Brian earns pumping gas. Brian earns pumping gas, okay? All right, so why is that important? Well, it just helps me. It doesn't have to be done like this. It just helps me so that the variables are a little bit easier. So he earns twice as much each week as a tutor. So 2G would be the amount Brian earns as a tutor. Okay, so his total weekly wages are $150 more than that of his sister. Okay? So I'm actually going to write my equation based on that, okay? So, but I need the sister, okay? She earns 1/4 as much as Brian does as a tutor. So 1/4 of 2G would be the amount the sister makes. The amount the sister makes. Now I'm going to simplify that. So 2 goes into 4 2 times. So I get 1/2 of G. Okay, so that would be how much the sister makes. Now I can use this part of my sentence to write an equation, okay? All right, so his total weekly wages. So that would be G plus 2G, which is 3Gs. Are, or is, so is the same as means equals, 150 more than that of his sister. So 1/2 G plus 150. All right, so now I see the fractions. So what is Coach Red going to do? She's likely going to clear the fractions. So I'm going to probably multiply everything by 6, giving me, or 2, sorry, by 2, giving me 6G equals G plus 300. I'm going to subtract G from both sides, and I get 5G equals 300. And so G equals, what is that, 60? So Brian earns $60 a week pumping gas, and he earns $120 a week tutoring. And there's the answers to our questions. All right, hopefully that was a helpful one. We're going to do one more, okay? All right, sometimes when you get into harder problems, you have to actually write the variables and then change those variables. So what I mean is, it says, in March, Rodney sold twice as many cars as Greg. In April, Rodney sold 5 fewer cars than he did in March, while Greg sold 3 more cars than he did in March. If they sold the same number of cars in April, how many did each sell in March? So I'm going to start right there, and that should be a capital M, and that should be a question mark. I'm going to start with March, and I've got 2 people. I've got Rodney and I've got Greg, okay? So I'm going to start with March. Okay, Rodney sold twice as many cars as Greg. So I'm going to let G equal the amount of cars Greg sold in March. And Rodney sold twice as many. So 2G, that's Rodney in terms of Greg. Okay, 2G would be the amount of cars Rodney sold in March. But now I got to do something to that. I have to change those because more information is based on what happened in April. So in April, Rodney sold 5 fewer cars than he did in March. So I have to take 2G, and I have to subtract 5 from it, okay? So this is April. And then Greg sold 3 more than he did in March. Okay, so G plus 3. All right, they sold the same number of cars in April. That's why I needed April, okay? So the same number of cars they sold in April, which means that G plus 3 equals 2G minus 5. And then we solve our equation. We balance. So I'm going to add 5 to both sides, and I'm just going to subtract G. So 8 equals G. So Greg sold 8 cars in March, and Rodney sold 16 cars in March. And there's my 2 answers. All right, guys, hopefully that was a helpful video and will help you solve the remaining problems on your pages. Have a great day.